In an increasingly divided world, people struggle to understand one another's perspectives, retreating into echo chambers of unchallenged opinions. When beliefs become too polarized, the result is often conflict, sometimes even violence. But is there a way to bridge this divide? I believe the key is curiosity. Curiosity is the desire to learn and understand. It sparks the first step towards meaningful dialogue. By asking thoughtful, probing questions, we open the door to empathy and respect, essential pillars of a free society. In contrast, totalitarian regimes, whether fascist or communist, thrive by stifling curiosity. They impose rigid ideologies as unquestionable truths, fostering fear and conformity, to bring control not just to behaviour, but to the very way individuals perceive reality. When curiosity is silenced, the state redraws our mental maps, closing off new paths of thought. Each question we dare to ask pushes back against these constraints, expanding the boundaries of our mind. At its heart, curiosity is a thirst for knowledge. When this instinct is suppressed, control becomes easier. Authoritarian systems, and even some institutional structures, often dampen curiosity, whether intentionally or not. Hello, welcome to Synarchy Education. Synarchy means collective self-rulership. This channel shares insights and theories I have found that can help us become self-ruling and avoid the technocratic systems that are being pushed on us at this time. To learn is to create an internal model of the external world. The way we continually expand this model is through active engagement. A good metaphor for this process is to be like an explorer. By seeking out new and interesting ideas, it helps us update and expand our internal model. Rather than just focus on the external world, we can also explore our internal world through concentration, meditation, and contemplation. There are just as many fascinating and scary places within our minds as there are in the external world. Expanding either of these equals learning. If learning requires us to explore new ideas, this means that we can't just passively accept a model of the world. The most efficient learning means engaging, exploring, and actively generating hypotheses and testing them. To do this requires a special skill, curiosity. Curiosity is the desire to learn or the thirst for knowledge. To explore is inherently risky. It could mean that you have to admit that you were wrong, or have to put effort into learning. Because of this, motivation is essential. We learn well only when we have a clear goal and we fully commit to reaching it. Curiosity is the starting point for learning, but learning only seems to occur when there is active engagement with what is being learnt. This means that the learner pays attention, thinks, anticipates, and puts forth hypotheses at the risk of making mistakes. Without attention, effort, and in-depth reflection, learning fades away without leaving much of a trace in the brain. One of the ways to make learning more active is by gradually making learning conditions more difficult. This requires you to engage more cognitive effort. Deeper processing means engaging with information in a meaningful, thoughtful way, instead of just focusing on surface details. It's about connecting new knowledge with existing ideas, analysing it, and reflecting on it, rather than just memorising or repeating it. This leads us to an important question. Do people naturally use deep processing and just learn by discovery, or do they need to be guided? Psychologists have found when children are left to themselves, they have great difficulty discovering the abstract rules that govern a domain, and they learn much less, if anything at all. Children of the new generation, unlike their parents, have been bathed in computers and electronics since their earliest years. But research shows that these children's mastery of technology is often superficial, and they are just as bad as any of us at multitasking. The need for curiosity, motivation, and guidance all point towards what many people already intuitively know, that teachers, coaches, and mentors are an important part of the human experience. Active engagement is a skill that can be learnt, just in the same way as any other, and getting a teacher or coach in this area can be a great way to increase learning. Curiosity is the direct manifestation of children's motivation to understand the world and build a model of it. Curiosity occurs whenever our brains detect a gap between what we already know and what we would like to know, a potential area for learning. In order for children to be curious, they must be aware of what they don't yet know. In other words, they must possess cognitive faculties. Metacognition is cognition over cognition, the set of higher order cognitive systems that monitor our mental processes. Metacognition plays a key role in curiosity. Indeed, to be curious is to want to know, and that implies knowing what you don't already know. Research in psychology highlights 3 ways modern school systems reduce curiosity. Number 1, a lack of cognitive stimulation. Students thrive when challenged at just the right level. Without it, curiosity fades. If the real aim is to raise our consciousness, traditional education restricts this by using a rigid curriculum, prioritizing materialist ideas or ideologies that promote lower states of consciousness, like fear, guilt, or shame. Number 2, punishment of inquiry. Traditional lectures and strict discipline can discourage participation and independent thought. Standardized exams often penalize creative answers that deviate from the curriculum, rewarding conformity instead. Number 3, overemphasis on passive learning. Humans learn in 2 modes, an active exploratory mode, where they test ideas like scientists, and a receptive mode, where we absorb what's been taught. Schools often lean heavily on the latter to boost test scores, sidelining the active curiosity that drives discovery. To be self-ruled is to be curious enough to question your belief systems. It is the first step on the path to synarchy and freedom. Every act of curiosity, every question posed, every assumption challenged, is a small rebellion against control. The more we foster this instinct, the harder we are to manipulate, and the closer we come to a world where understanding triumphs over division.